Hi guys, something I don't understand about Lee Anderson, Reform UK and Reform UK friendly GB News is that they all claim to be on the side of freedom of expression. They believe free speech is under threat from wokeness, from the Labour government, from Keir Starmer, and they even support the idea of sending Nigel Farage to the United States to lobby on behalf of free speech. And then you have this.
Good morning, Joe. I'm slightly confused by the Daily Star Sunday today because they seem to be sort of being quite sarcastic about this plan from Lee Anderson that he mentioned at the Reform conference yesterday to get every school child singing the national anthem every morning.
Oh, okay, before we continue, and I will focus on this, I just had to take a step aside for a moment. Why is Reform UK talking about the national anthem and not, I don't know, the cost of living, or the NHS, or social care, or education, or infrastructure? Why are they talking about forcing children to sing the national anthem?
Morning. Now, politics aside, I don't care what party you vote for or what party you like, so that's entirely up to you. I do think that the idea of singing the national anthem in schools is a good thing.
Yeah.
They compare it to what Mad Vlad, as they put it, does in Russia. But actually, it's what they do in America.
Yeah.
And it's what they do in lots of countries. I've got a feeling they do something similar in France.
Okay, yeah, I think lots of European countries do it.
Canada?
As well.
But I don't know about Canada. No idea. But I think it's a really nice idea.
So do I. I can't see anything wrong with it at all.
No.
It's really interesting that Lee Anderson has decided to go with this because his speech day before yesterday, on the first day, was a brilliant speech, I have to say. And he talked about how his dad. He said that during his childhood, one of the worst things about the early morning was that he always woke up to the sound of his father's alarm clock because his dad would then get up, get his clothes on and go down the pits.
Go to work.
And he said the only thing that was worse was when it was my alarm clock. That it was doing the same for me, and he used to get up, put his togs on and join his father down the pit. But he said nowadays we have a generation of young people who don't know the sound of an alarm clock. And I thought, I wonder if that's true.
Possibly.
And, and then he went on to talk about how you should be proud of your country and what's wrong with the flags and all the rest.
But also,
Okay, so much confusion here. So on the one hand, Reform UK keeps saying how Britain is broken, it's destroyed, it's an embarrassment on the world stage, and then they're saying at the other hand, well, people need to be proud of the country. People need to be proud of the nation. So how do you, on the one hand, run the country down, and then on the other hand, demand that people be proud of it? But proud of what? We have to be proud of the nation. And this idea of forcing children, they would be forced, let's be honest about this, they will be forced to sing the national anthem. Now, if you believe in people singing the national anthem, that's fine. But they would be forced to do it. This is from a party that claims to be on the side of freedom of expression. And what I mean by that is, what if some children don't want to sing it? Are they going to be punished? Is the Reform UK head teacher going to say, okay, you're in suspension, or I'm going to call your parents in and give them a talking to because you've decided not to be patriotic? Is this what Reform UK want to create? A situation where children are forced to do things against their will? Because some people may want to avoid singing the national anthem. People may say, I don't care about the national anthem. I don't care about patriotism. I don't care about these things. And I hate the term patriotism because Reform UK are not patriotic. They don't care about the nation because the nation is made up of its people. They don't care about the people of the nation. They care about this plastic patriotism, wave the flag, sing the national anthem. They don't actually care about the people in the nation, the most vulnerable people in society. Nigel Farage wants to reduce the size of the welfare budget. And what would that mean? It would mean punishing pensioners, punishing the most vulnerable, punishing people who are disabled, punishing also people who are working but need to rely on the welfare state because the money they earn is not sufficient. How is that patriotism? How is it patriotism punishing people in the nation, the most vulnerable people, people who don't have a voice, people who don't have huge amounts of money to lobby government? How is that patriotism? it really grinds my gears, this idea of, oh, well, if you wave the flag or if you stand up and sing the national anthem, maybe you put your hand over your heart like the Americans do, then that means you're a patriot. No, a patriot is somebody who looks at poverty and says, this is bad, we need to fix it. Nobody in our nation should be in poverty. That's what I would call a patriot. Somebody who wants to lift people out of poverty, who doesn't want to see any suffering in society. Wants to make sure that everyone has access to healthcare, everyone has access to housing, everyone has a decent standard of living. I would call that person a patriot, not some idiot who paints a roundabout. That's not patriotism. That's actually the opposite, because what you're doing is you're distracting the public from the real concerns of the nation. Reform UK are not interested in the cost of living crisis. They're not interested in the NHS unless they can privatise it even more. But they're not a patriotic party. They're the opposite of that. And you can use whatever term you want as the opposite. But they're not patriots. And it's, of course, tapping into this distraction, tapping into this nationalism for distraction. Because Reform UK don't really have any policies apart from we're anti-immigration. But if they do get into power, I would not be surprised if Nigel Farage and Lee Anderson and others campaign or push for this sort of nationalism. Have the flag in every classroom. People genuflect to the flag and they sing the national anthem before class. I would not be surprised. And anyone who disagrees with that will be regarded as a traitor, and maybe their parents or them themselves will be punished in some way. All because the party doesn't actually have any real policies and because the party doesn't care about the nation. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think, and I'll see you in the next video.